Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Mental Health Awakening. And today, me and Angela are joined by Daanish. And today, our topic is mental health accountability. And yeah, it's gonna be an awesome episode. So, Angela, over to you.
I'm Angela Jackson, licensed professional counselor with national certification in the state of Tennessee, USA, partnering with the UK. I'm excited about this discussion. I'm sure it's going to be another mental health awakening.
And over to you, Daanish.
Hey everyone, my name is Daanish. I have had IBD for the last 12 years, and I am happy to talk about mental health any day, anytime. It's a subject that needs a lot of awareness raised within the world.
Yeah, I think it is very important, especially in IBD, because we'll go through so much, don't we?
Yeah, and something I always say, the gut is like a second mind. Our mind and gut go together. So
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. I'm excited about this discussion. I think this is one of the first where we all three have something in common, which is IBD. So we can relate there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I don't
Awesome.
I don't think we've done an episode yet related to IBD, Angela, have we?
I don't think so.
No. So yeah, this will be our first episode about IBD, which is pretty cool. We spoke about our Crohn's, haven't we, with another guest that had a chronic illness. But although it's all in the same boat, but just we haven't had one as in IBD sort of
Mhm.
terms.
Mhm. It came up with a discussion where we were talking a lot about confidence and things of that nature. So just like mental health, it always comes up, especially when it comes to our personal journeys, and how it has affected our lives and changing the way that, we approach life in general. So, hey, I'm ready to jump right into the topic. So let's go right into mental health accountability. We're going to turn it back over to you, Daanish.
So, mental health accountability. Well, for one, as us people who are recipients of IBD as well, I think each of those go hand in hand because our IBD, or at least mine, I'm not going to speak for everyone else, but at least mine comes from also my mental health state. I could be sleepier one day. I could be dealing with some type of depression one day, and my gut will be upset with me for being in that mood. So that can cause ripple effects with flares or any other type of, stomach aches. And it's something that a lot of people I feel like need to be more aware of because who knows what their mental health is causing themselves and that they're not aware of.
I can definitely relate to what you're saying. It's true, depending on what your mood is, it's almost like there's a cycle between that mental health and physical health. And I like to say that, it should be viewed as total health because one does affect the other, definitely.
Yeah, yeah. Mental health plays a big part to how we're feeling. Um, because like you say, one day we could be really happy, another day we can be feeling rubbish because of something that's happened to our IBD. I don't know, like if you're maybe changing medication and you've been on a medication so long, and you feel like, oh, this worked for so long, and then I have to change, which you don't want to do because there's always a risk with changing medication. Like, is it going to work or is it going to be bad?
And another thing too is that, and people get kind of like weirded out whenever I tell them this. I wake up with depression almost every day, and the days that I choose to uh, acknowledge it versus feeling what I'm feeling, letting myself feel what I feel. And there's two different ways to approach that, in my opinion, because one is acknowledging it is actually doing something about it to make yourself get out of that funk. Feeling your feelings is actually embracing what you're feeling and accepting it. But at the same time, it's also, you have to hold yourself accountable for being able to pull yourself out of it after feeling that, because it can take you down a bad path if you continuously let yourself fall with it.
Yeah. It can definitely turn into a spiral. I like what you said about acknowledgement and taking that responsibility. And that's actually something that I recommend when I work with clients is, sometimes when you have those uncomfortable feelings, it makes it worse in a sense when you try to deny it. So acknowledge the feeling and then ask yourself 2 questions. Of course, there could be more, but I always say, ask yourself, is what I'm feeling, is it closer to a fact? Is it closer to something I've experienced? Or is it closer to an assumption? What's got me feeling this way? Why am I in this funk? And I know that sounded like 3 questions when I said 2, but but they the first 2 kind of partner together, but just basically challenging those negative or anxious or depressing thoughts when it's like, okay, why am I feeling this way? I can't necessarily pinpoint a reason why. And then, of course, with us having a chronic illness, we can kind of assess how we're feeling that day. And like I said, kind of takes you back to that cycle. But that's a great way to acknowledge and then take that responsibility of how you're feeling is, okay, first, I need to be honest that I'm not feeling so great. I am feeling depressed. I'm a little bit anxious and I just can't figure out why I'm in this space. So definitely great point.
Yeah, and I think having IBD can make us quite at risk to other things as well. And in a pandemic, in an ongoing pandemic, that really does increase our mental health, I think. Because like personally, like for me, I still do my work from home. I see still friends and that trying to meet up, not doing, because over in UK, I think most places now restrictions are not there or anything, and that's annoying because people can get on with their lives if they don't have a low immune system. And it is annoying, and it does sometimes make me feel a bit down. That side of things, because if I didn't have Crohn's, I might be able to be a bit more risky or meet with friends, have more of a life than staying at home, and because of my Crohn's. So yeah, it can make you quite a lot depressed, this like COVID.
I think one thing you have to remind yourself though, Mason, also is that this pandemic is kind of a blessing in disguise as well. It's because it's showing us that even with our chronic illnesses, we have to be held accountable for our health. And even with vaccinations and everything, those don't save us. It's still on us to take care of ourselves. And while people are going out seeing friends, at the same time, they are also, out partying, drinking, all of these things. And I don't know about you guys, but I actually quit drinking 2 years ago because of mental health. I hated the way it was making me feel after every hangover. I just felt like shit the whole day. Excuse my language, but yeah, it was just. And that whole party life thing kind of died down for me after a while, and I just started hating the way that I was feeling the next day. And along with just like the depression part, like my therapist always used to tell me, don't stay in the pity party. You got to get out of it eventually.
Yeah, I think I think like you say, I agree that there is a blessing as well, the pandemic, because but yeah, like some of my friends go out drinking, and personally, even if I even if I didn't have Crohn's, it wouldn't be something I would do every weekend. Like you see friends and that going each weekend to pubs, drinking it out until they can get really drunk. And to me, it's not fun. Like I'll have a drink every now and then. I will for special occasions if my Crohn's is okay. If not, I won't. I won't touch it. But like a special occasion, like it's my 21st birthday this year, so hopefully I will be all right to have a drink or two, maybe. But but yeah, it's not something I like to do. Like I probably had a hangover once, and I didn't really know what it felt like at first. But
You're a lucky man.
yeah, I didn't know what it felt like at first. But it's almost like you're in an illusion, really. But yeah, it's not. I see, like I said, I see friends and that. I don't feel like what's the fun of it? What you getting out of this? But yeah, I suppose you look at it differently because we have a low immune a condition that makes us think like this. So I suppose we wouldn't think like this if you didn't have ulcerative colitis, we didn't have Crohn's. It would be a whole lot different. We possibly might be out there doing that ourselves, but but yeah, it's just you think about those things and you think, is it fun? Is it?
Yeah.
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 Like for me, it was because we were kind of in the nightlife. It was someone's birthday, and it was fun. Throwing up wasn't fun, but it was fun. And then, I don't know. After a while, I just don't get me wrong. I love my friends to death, but there's a certain point in time where you got to start thinking about yourself and how it's making you feel the next day, and is it really worth feeling like that? And this is where support system comes into play, because the people that really matter won't want you to feel that way the next day. They'll be like, you're good. We love you regardless, but you're our friend regardless. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So would you say that, with your friends or peers, would you say that you struggled to set those boundaries, or was it accepted?
I think I did it to myself more than my friends, because my friends were, I, at a certain point in my life, used IBD as an icebreaker to meet people, which, isn't healthy. It's pretty much saying, hey, I'm sick, be my friend.
Hmm.
And it's something that I actually wasn't aware of until one of my friends actually brought it up to me and we were talking. He was like, we love you regardless. You don't have to use your ailment as a thing to introduce yourself to someone. And I wasn't even aware of it, honestly. I was just like, I'm just somebody with IBD, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I was just like, huh, that's interesting. And so instead of being like, hey, my name's Daanish, I have UC, I was like, hey, my name's Daanish. Nice to meet you. And that's again where the support system comes in.
Yeah, I think support system is really important because yeah, like that, like my friends now have got Crohn's, but yeah, it's almost like I'm not, I suppose, involved as much since the pandemic began.
Yeah.
But I'm not in the group chat, so I'm talked about like and stuff, but I'm not like as involved just because I've got Crohn's and they think I might not be able to make it, which is sad, really. But I understand why they're saying it. But yeah, it is annoying. Like, yeah, I might probably couldn't come, but like I have met with people during the pandemic though, like maybe a couple of friends still asking people to do COVID tests because you just never know. But like it's annoying, isn't it? Like because we watch these programs and like the zombie programs, and I know it's not the same COVID, but in a mindset, I would much rather a zombie apocalypse in a way, like because you would know who has had it, wouldn't you? Like with COVID, you have to take it's more or less invisible, like Crohn's is, even though they're two separate things. But I always relate the two, or like IBD, because you I feel like you can relate them because everyone has it differently. Everyone can have COVID differently. Everyone can have Crohn's. Everyone can have ulcerative colitis differently. And
Yeah.
I always relate because, and that's why a zombie apocalypse probably would have been more fun. I think, because for us all, even though it would have been nice, but it's just that we would know, like, oh look, they've got the plague over there, and we know that, and to stay away from them.
I see a lot of people say IBD is my curse, IBD is this, IBD is that, mental health is my curse. I think it's not looked at the right way, because your life could have been so much different with or without IBD. You could have had something else. You could have cancer. You could have not been alive. You could have, you know, X and Z and whatever. The thing that is not looked at is how much of an awareness that's brought to you to your health. Maybe you needed that reminder to be like, oh, this is what I need to do to take care of myself now. Okay, I need to not eat so much of this because this is what's going to happen if I do. It's putting yourself in check without even needing to put yourself in check.
Definitely. It does bring out that self-evaluation. You consider healthy ways to cope versus the unhealthy ways, like you mentioned, drinking. There's other possibilities that are more suited for you and your situation that we may not have been as mindful about if we didn't have the condition. So it can apply to, oh goodness, like Mason, you were mentioning COVID and things like that. Of course, we're in that high risk category. So right there, we're already trying to be a little bit more cautious. And I agree, Daanish, with what you said before. The pandemic, it changed things to the point to where I feel like it simplified life a little bit, where we all had to stop at some point and embrace the self-isolation and the quarantine and that kind of thing. And new habits were developed. Like I mention all the time, I probably would have never started a kitchen garden. You know what I'm saying? Like it just kind of simplified life a little bit more. It gave us the opportunity to rediscover some things that we would not normally do, or be more focused with our physical health, or eliminating maybe certain social settings and things of that nature, which falls in line with mental health accountability. A lot of people don't consider self-care in its, in the total form. It's just, oh, haircut, nails, all this other stuff, shopping. But really, we have to consider, what does self-care and what do those boundaries look like from a social perspective, from a spiritual perspective, and even professional. That professional part of self-care is not even discussed enough. You don't hear people talk about professional or occupational self-care, and that would be, are you taking breaks? Are you preparing for what your break will look like? Are you eating healthy on your breaks? Are you removing yourself from your workspace just to kind of rejuvenate? I was sharing with a group, it's like a support group in my immediate area, and we were talking about going places and figuring out where the restrooms are, or taking what I call the adult toiletry bag or the adult diaper bag, and making sure you have a change of clothes and things like that. And that applies, if you have Crohn's, colitis, in other different chronic illnesses. But considering, holding yourself responsible for changes that you've made, and then acknowledging, okay, there are other ways that I need to take care of myself.
Yeah,
exactly. I know that was a lot.
No, you did.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
Angela, let me ask you, when holding yourself accountable for your mental health and physical health and your IBD, how do you teach yourself to reevaluate when you know you need to take a step back versus grinding?
Wow, I got this question from someone else this week. So figuring out what tasks are on your plate and prioritizing. You have to set limits for yourself. Maybe you have 10 things on your to-do list, and in one day, it's going to have to be okay that you only complete 3. So I would say, in its simplest form, creating that bullet point list, figuring out what the priority is, because a lot of times we try to do it all and then we just kind of fumble in those situations. But figuring out what's priority, set those limits, and be okay with it.
Mason, how about you?
Yeah, what I try to do if I'm overthinking about like I set order and stuff like with mental health, it is like for me it I suppose it doesn't affect me like it did at the start of the pandemic. I'd say it did, but like it doesn't also at this moment in time. I know how life is. I know what life is like at the moment. Like I get annoyed. Like at the beginning of the year, I was annoyed because I thought, hang on a minute, new year, I'm about to do more. Like I'm about to do the football coaching that I wanted to do. Might about to get back into driving lessons that I wanted to do. Probably passed by now if COVID wasn't around. So there's those things that I was looking forward to doing this year, and then it doesn't happen because cases rise. And even if the cases rise, that means I can't do it because with football coaching, there's mixing with people, and that's what life is. You have to mix with people, and I still go out for walks. I like going for walks. I still do the stuff I want to do, but like I wouldn't have a podcast. So there's a good thing about mental health, and there's bad things about mental health. Like like if I'm in a painful flare, I will not be happy, like all of us. But how that affects me is I will like going back to my first flare with Crohn's. What happened during that stage is I didn't like life. It was bad. I had horrible pain. It was burning and stuff, and I was thinking. I think what most people feel like when they're told they have IBD, they think, "What is it?" Like if you don't know what it is. I know some people can, they know of it before they're diagnosed, which is good actually because I don't know. I never had that experience, but what happened is because when I was told it was a disease, I ultimately thought, hang on a minute, does that mean I'm not? It's like, is it like cancer? Like because I didn't know what it was. That was my first thought. Is it like if you got a certain time to live or something? Which is quite scary. Like I think, especially for new people that are diagnosed with it, because I think that's your automatic thought. Like, am I going to die and stuff like that? And like because of the pain you in, it feels like that. It does. Like it feels like it's not going to stop until they say you can go on medication, and until they say you have to be on it for the rest of your life until there is some sort of cure. It is hard, and mental health is really bad at the start of a diagnosis. I think of any diagnosis really, but with a chronic illness, it's not nice the start of it. But I think once we're past that start of it, our mental health, I suppose, improves a little bit, even though we don't know what to expect each day. So this morning, like we could have woken up in a horrible mood, I know we're recording this is on a Sunday, so it's a nice chill day, I suppose. um, but yeah, like my mental health, it does vary. Um, like some days I will wake up and I will say, oh, it's not ending. Like COVID, this is like not bound to do stuff because it having Crohn's, and I think all of us, every person that has Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, IBD, will have a day where we wake up, or probably multiple, and we say, why do we have to have this? Well, like we could be going out with our friends, to be more out and about, do more we want to do, but yeah, so sometimes we feel for ourselves, sorry for ourselves, but I don't know about you guys, but what I don't like to do, I don't want people to come across like they feel sorry for me or for sorry for us, like they treat us like we're ill. I know we are in a way, like, but like not like babies.
Yeah, yeah. I can relate to what you were saying. I had not heard of Crohn's disease when I was diagnosed, and I felt like I was not given enough information. So I didn't take it seriously. And then, from a mental health perspective, now I can say that I felt like I was cycling through just grief itself. I was angry, I was sad, there was, guilt, there might have even been some shame, all of these different stages. And it was because I was trying to figure out, is it something that I did? Is it something I didn't do? I felt, at that time I was pretty active, cheerleader, majorette, all these kinds of things, had to exercise, had to be in shape. And then I thought, okay, but was I eating well enough? Or, trying to figure out if I was to blame. And I even had relatives that did blame me as if it were something that I did to myself. Like, what have you been doing? or what is it you're not telling us? And I just, yeah, I mean, the depression comes, the anxiety comes. It's like, how do you handle this from day to day, especially when there is that lack of knowledge? And then depending on what you experience with procedures and all of the assessments that, you can even experience the PTSD type symptoms, because it's just that traumatic. And sudden life changes is what got me. So I feel like I grieved the lifestyle that I had, the healthy, young adult, that kind of stuff, just kind of coming and going. Still, I feel like I was still pretty productive. Okay, support system, but yeah, it was already isolating. That's why now pandemic, yes, I was cautious about being ill, but having to isolate on a on a regular basis, sometimes that part was not that great of an adjustment. When I consider the changes that I made, I felt like I was incognito after I got diagnosed, just to give myself enough time to figure things out. So yeah, it's definitely hard physically and mentally.
I totally get that. When I first started seeing symptoms of my IBD was my parents were actually going through a separation, and I was drinking a lot. I was away to college, didn't know how, I was angry and didn't know how else to deal with my grief. So alcohol was my best friend at that time. I was around 19, and that's when IBD was introduced into my life. And then around 30, I had my first full-blown panic attack, and I collapsed in front of my mom. It was like maybe 1 or 2 in the morning, and I thought I was having a heart attack because I just could not move. I was on the ground. I felt paralyzed, and I just could not move. And that's when I realized how important mental health is and where it can take you to.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, I completely agree, and we actually, me and Angela, we spoke about like panic attacks before, didn't we?
Right.
And like I've had one as well. Um, and they do feel like that, don't they? They feel like you're having a heart attack. I had one at my local football stadium because I wasn't recently recovering from a flare, and I went in, and occasionally I had pain, and I felt this pain, and then I was panicking, and I was thinking, hang on a minute, what's going on? And then yeah, I'm going around the stadium, and everyone can see me. In my mind, I don't care what people are thinking. They're thinking like a madman's, and like going around and screaming, and I did try and go out of the stadium, but they didn't say I could because it was the turnstiles that let you in the stadium, so you couldn't go out, and they didn't let me do that. So what happened was I was when I went to spoke to another person that actually had a situation, had a panic attacks before and calmed me down. But it is very frightening, isn't it, when that happens?
Yeah, you don't know what's happening to yourself.
Mhm.
Pretty scary.
Mhm. It can feel
Help.
like a huge surge of emotions, but if you're unfamiliar with that as well, you will think that it's a heart attack or something else. And what's interesting is that people who don't typically have, anxiety can experience a panic attack, so it can be rough.
Yeah.
You know, and it's funny. It's like people say I don't have anxiety or of that sort. If you get nervous in certain situations or if you're nervous about something, that's anxiety. That's
Yeah.
why when people say I don't get anxiety, it's just like, yes, you do. You're just not.
Yes. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. It could be specific fears. It could be, phobias is a form of anxiety, right? People, oh, I'm afraid of heights. I'm afraid of, okay.
The thing is, you don't have to be diagnosed to have anxiety. Everyone
Right.
has some of anxiety. Like I don't believe I am diagnosed with anxiety, but I am anxious about certain things.
Mhm.
Like yeah, I'll be like be anxious beating up with someone that's well, I don't no actually I'm not. I'm more comfortable if someone's had COVID. And like I don't know about you guys, like it's more better I suppose to meet a person who's had COVID a few times and then and if you all got a low immune system because they are although they could catch it again, but it's more safer than someone that hasn't had COVID.
Right.
But with the panic attacks, in a way, although it's a horrible experience, at least that we've had that panic attack and we know what it feels like for next time if it happens.
Mhm.
And the thing is too that you have to be able to tell yourself like enough is enough. Like even when I go out to meet friends, I'm back home by 10:30, maybe 11 tops, and they'll still be partying and living it up to like 1 or 2 in the morning. But and I'll be like I'll think to myself like I know how I feel if I go to sleep too late. I need my rest. I need to be mentally good, and holding yourself accountable again to that is key because your support system will get it, your friends will get it. You just need to keep that mindset of yourself of letting anyone else down and just taking care of yourself.
Yeah,
Mhm.
self-care is very important.
Yeah.
Like fatigue, like drinking alcohol makes you tired. so, so if you think about it, like people have IBD, that's a symptom anyway, but
Yeah.
regardless of only drinking alcohol. Um, so yeah, like I I remember it was my brother's wedding last year, and I had a few drinks. I dropped a glass, but this was a really good experience for me because everyone was properly tested for COVID, and it was very secure and venue as well. So it was big and everything. And that night I had a few drinks, and I didn't realize I had a few drinks. I was sitting down most of the time, and I was getting delivered drinks, which I did. And yeah, yeah, and it was a special occasion. Like, my brother's only getting married once. Let's hope. And I had that done, and I had the drink, and I was tired, and having the drink made me tired, and even though I was that tired, I still wanted to stay up, chat to people. But I know the horrible, like, fatigue is horrible in general with IBD, but having alcohol on top of it, and then that makes you even more tired. Like, you just wake up. It's almost like when you wake up in the morning and you're shattered.
Right.
That's funny.
It's like you're trying to be more fun, but you're more tired because you drank, and it's just like, oh, I'm gonna be more fun. No, I'm not.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah, yeah, and I, it was a funny thing is when I dropped that glass, I was the person who picked it up. She dropped one as well earlier in the day, and I remember that it was outside at one point, and it was only prosecco. Like, prosecco was going. I was getting travelled on the plates that they do, and there was burgers going around as well, but I couldn't eat anything. I wasn't even hungry. Um, but yeah, that was actually a pretty good experience from last year, because although it was a pretty horrible year for everyone, I suppose, um, because of COVID, but we can look back on some good moments, like of it, and but yeah, like, all things getting cancelled, but yeah, like, me just remembering, because not having only drinking at special occasions, that is a good memory, because it did make me tired.
Mhm. It could just be fatigue, right?
Maybe.
So, Daanish, you mentioned earlier that you went to a therapist. What do you do now to maintain stable mental health?
Oh, well, so I have a very busy work life. I work in human resources, so it's always on the go. So being able to know when to stop working and have that mindset that I can still do this tomorrow, or maybe prioritizing what you can handle and cannot, is definitely key. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, there's been so many days I've just been like, I need to get some air because I was just so overwhelmed. And even for stress relieving, just from stress from work, go to the gym, go for long walks, go to the beach, just breathe in some air, get those endorphins kind of
Mhm.
ice. Those are all the things I do, but mainly I really take it upon myself to go exercise, because I feel like that is what's keeping my body de-stressed.
Yeah.
Good deal. Good deal. And a part of accountability is routine, that regular practice of, whatever it is that kind of helps support the stability. Because, once you make it a habit, you're able to kind of pull from those, hobbies, interests, things that you do to cope. You'll pull from that to help kind of minimize any flares, whether it's, mental or physical.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's it.
Good deal.
That's it. Because yeah, like, being like on jobs, working, doing stuff constantly can be tiring. Like, repeating the same thing every day.
Especially staring at a computer all day.
Yeah, that
Yes, that's true.
that can be very draining. Like, yeah, just doing the same thing all the time. And although it can be fun, but I think we're all entitled to our breaks every once in a while.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, if it's you're going for a walk, going to the woods, going in the middle of nowhere, maybe. um,
Mhm.
I don't know about you, but I always find that fun. Like, if you just go to a place and you don't know where it is, you've never been before, and you get lost. Even though some people you're with may be freaking out, or I'm lost in everything. But when I'm in that situation, I kind of like it because I like to find the way back. Even though it might take a few hours, but it kind of a like little mystery. But yeah, I do like that. Like, it's just being freedom from the routine we're used to.
Yeah. And you know, I don't know about you guys, but I actually do this sometimes. If I'm really just in a rut, I will go hike to a kind of like a top of the hill or something and literally just scream as loud as I can and put my full like heart and like gut into it. And it's something that I've learned actually. It's relieving whatever pain or anxiety you're feeling because you're releasing it in a way that is just like, you know, F my life type scenario. But it's not like in a bad way. It's like, you know, I need to get this out.
Yeah,
I like that. Never done it. I can think of times that I probably need to try it.
I
That's
think we all.
awesome. I'm sitting here thinking while you were saying that, I'm thinking, where would I go
oh, I've got
to
somewhere in mind where
to
I
just
can
get
go.
the scream out, right?
Like, speaking of, I live right next to a park. Like I'm a road, and I don't go that often. But I live behind it actually, and that's a good idea actually. I might do that. Because
Yeah.
it sounds fun
There was
actually.
there's a couple times I actually did it in the gym and didn't even realize it. I had my headphones on full blast and I just finished a set and I just kind of just let it out. And the minute I stopped, I saw like the whole gym literally looking at me. I was like, I just,
You'll be famous.
oh no, they know it's a common thing for me now. So
Ah,
they know me as a screamer.
Okay, so you do it regularly at the gym?
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if everybody else can grunt and do whatever they want, I'm gonna let one out eventually.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah, it does sound, although it does sound pretty fun. Like, just
Mhm.
you let your frustrations out. I try to keep it in most of the time.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do
Yeah,
that.
you're like because if no one's in the house, like if it's, I'll do it, but I don't want to do it when everyone's there. I think, but going around to the local field would be a nice idea.
Have you ever thought of taking a pillow and just putting it on your face and letting it out so it's not
Yeah,
as loud?
yeah, that's quite a good idea. Um, yeah, I think it's something I need to try. Um, right, because this past few years it was been very frustrating.
Mhm. Yeah, you've got to figure something out to do. And even as a professional, as a mental health counselor, as a therapist, I'm sure a lot of other therapists and counselors can relate. There's a code of ethics and a board that we're governed by. And so within the code of ethics, it actually specifies the need for self-care. So a lot of therapists have certain things identified that they do, or that they're interested in, or that whatever it is for us to cope and kind of unplug and pause. So if we don't, that means that we are not following ethical boundaries. And I love to pull that out, with other professionals and colleagues, even if it's not in the helping field. But if it is written in code of ethics or certain standards or boundaries that you should, pause and unplug and take care of yourself. It's a responsibility. So I like that. I need one of those good screams.
Yeah.
I think we all do.
Mhm.
IBD or
Yes.
not.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Gain some attention, I suppose.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, I mean, think of it this way. When you're in a hospital bed and you're dealing with the flare up and you have doctors not listening to you,
Oh, yeah.
man.
That's right.
You
That's
feel like
right.
screaming, and they will look at you. If you did scream, they'll look at you. What are you screaming for?
Right.
Mhm. Yeah.
Or get psych on the phone. We need them. One or the other.
That's right. And it's freeing. It always puts me in the mind of a toddler when they don't have the language to say what they're feeling, what they're thinking. What do? They they kick, they scream, they cry, they just let it out, throw a big tantrum. So
Throw a
yeah,
tantrum.
throw a tantrum. That's right.
Yep. The more you go on, the more people will listen. In a way, because like the more you go on about something, or the more you moan at them about it, then that in their head they'll think, "Be quiet." I know. You said this 5 minutes ago, but if you say it, keep going again. Like for example, if you want to be moved from a certain room, right? Like you want to be rolled somewhere else. You're like, I don't want to be here. I want to be somewhere less noisy.
Right.
But yeah, maybe we should try that as well. Like if we're in a flare, we're in a hospital for some reason, we're really frustrated, the pain is unbearable, we just scream.
It couldn't hurt to try.
No, they can't take us out, can they?
They might have us evaluated.
I mean, we get evaluated regardless. So
Yeah. We might be taken to a different ward, maybe. But
it's like, I don't think there's IBD. I think there's something else. We need to put them in isolation.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So give us some other suggestions. Tell us some other things that you would suggest for the viewers and listeners as far as mental health, whether a coping skill, whether just like we were talking about, ways to unplug or de-escalate. Share some other things that you might do or suggest.
Oh man. Go on a drive, doesn't matter where, just go to a scenic area and just drive and listen to your most decompressing music playlist you have. Whether it's a low tone techno, whether it's gospel, whether it's R&B, whether it's rock, just go and just put it on full blast.
I like that.
yeah, I think that's a good
And
idea.
sing along if you feel like it.
Huh?
And sing along if you feel like it.
That's right.
As loud as you
Sing
can.
along.
As loud as you want.
No one's around. Might as well,
Yeah. Yeah. But make sure you go down the correct speed limit.
That's good point.
Gotcha. Mason's safe.
Because say you think about it, you put the loud music on, you scream at it, and then you're more concentrated on that, and then not so the driving, and you'll be like, oh, let's go as fast as the music's hitting.
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
I can see Mason in like a skyline going 110, just like not caring about anyone in life.
That's right.
And then you get pulled over. The cop says to you, why are you going that fast and listening to the music that loud? And then you say to him, because I'm not happy. Then he says, I'm not happy that you're going that speed limit. Slow down.
Right. Here's a ticket. Bye.
Yeah.
Wow. Mason, we got to make sure you get your driver's license.
I've driven a car.
Listen
I
to me.
know
I'm gonna make it so you don't pass your test.
we got to get you legal. We got to come up with another another option for you.
Yeah,
When it comes to driving.
like I would have been already by now, but it's annoying. I did like to drive in the dark though. Like I drove in the dark quite a few times. When I did driving lessons, would have been early 2020ish last time I did it. So although it's a long time ago, I still remember what to do and stuff. Um, but yeah, it's annoying. Like, I've driven a go-kart, if that helps. But yeah,
You don't have to care about speed when you're driving a go-kart. You could just go.
yeah, just go as fast as you want. Even though there is a certain speed limit as well. Like
Follows
go,
it ever.
yeah, it's annoying. Like I went a few years back for my birthday, and I do plan to do hopefully this year for my birthday. Fingers crossed. I want to do it again because I did it for my 18th and with a couple of friends, and like so certain people were breaking the speed limit, and they had these flags like they have red flag, yellow flag. You get a red flag, you're off. um, yeah, but I enjoyed it. Like like you can just imagine like the Formula One cars, how fast they go, because that like if you think about their mental health as well, like racing car drivers, it's quite a good job for them actually, because if they're really angry, they can go as fast as they want, knowing it's okay.
Definitely.
Yeah. Although it's super fast, like you don't realize how fast it is. It's so fast. It's great.
So Daanish, tell us what you have going on as far as like raising awareness. What do you do?
So a stigma I am trying to tackle is men speaking up about mental health and chronic health, autoimmune, every example possible that I just said, because there aren't enough. There's that saying, man up, that I'm trying to break. And that is why I do what I do. In the beginning, it was more about just raising awareness for chronic health. But as I expanded more, I started seeing and listening and seeing how not enough men were speaking about IBD.
Yeah, I think it's right, because men, like, it's hard to let our emotions out, isn't it? Like and stuff. So I think it's good talking about it and like expressing how you feel. Especially in a community where people understand as well. Because yeah, I think it's good that you choose to do that, because it's important.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And trust me, I've gotten my hate DMs for it already. So it's yeah. Oh, yeah. I've gotten called all types of names, been told all types of stuff, because I'm being vulnerable.
Okay.
Is that people from the IBD community, or is it people
Just random?
Oh, just random.
Because my page is open to everyone, and they see the videos or content I post, and it's just kind of like I get sent stuff like "Cry Me a River," blah blah blah. It's just like.
Okay. So I mentioned, and Mason, you probably remember better than I do, but there was another episode where I mentioned this. Oh goodness, there was a post that showed a little boy being told, don't cry. don't show any emotions, suck it up, all of these types of things, right? So as a boy, mom or his parents in general, whoever's raising him, is telling him all of these things that, you know, essentially are suppressing his emotions, no emotional regulation, you know, all this just kind of develops as a kid. So when he grows up, you know, on the other side of the post is a grown man where his wife is saying, you don't show me any affection. I don't know how you feel. We don't communicate, you know? So there's that missing piece that, you know, there's no bridge between the two. How is it that you don't want a boy to express how he feels or even understands what he's feeling in the moment? And as I mentioned before, it then turns into that inner child or that toddler that, you know, hey, I don't know how to communicate. I'm struggling to express myself because I cannot say what I'm feeling first. Then all of a sudden it's just flat out anger, because that's the secondary emotion. So it really could be confusion, embarrassment, frustration, whatever. But because you can't say that, or you have not been given the space to say exactly how you feel, now all of a sudden you're this grown man, you know, who's struggling to connect to your partner because she's looking for that emotional connection. She's looking for that communication. So I like what you're saying about addressing the stigma around, you know, the boys. I call it the boys to men kind of thing. But
Yeah.
yeah, definitely that. I like what you said. Now I'm losing. What was it?
It is showing vulnerability of the stigma of manning up.
That's right. Man up. That's what I was trying to, it slipped my mind. So getting that, so all of that kind of goes into that, the man up thing, and yeah. And what that creates. Yeah, definitely. It's necessary. It's necessary.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that does make you down though when you do get those nasty comments from I notice it's not needed, is it? Like
I mean, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, it's just not, it's not needed for that to happen.
I've learned how to brush it off now because I am in tune with who I am, and working on being able to tell myself that I'm enough.
Mm-hmm,
And once you can master that, no one can touch you.
mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm. Do you, you know, on the flip side of that, do you get other men or maybe even women, but do you get people who want to contribute to that topic?
Oh yeah, definitely more women than men, but I am trying to show that there are still, the stigma isn't all men. There are still men who suffer from IBD or any other type of autoimmune or chronic health disease that are speaking up. We're just overshadowed by the ones that don't know how.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely. There's so many different phases and stages.
Like I say, there's toxic masculinity and then there's masculinity.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I definitely agree. Yeah, because it is like mental health with all this is it's crucial to everyone, because if we don't talk about our mental health, who's going to talk about it?
Exactly.
Like they're not going to talk about it on our behalf, are they? Like I'm not going to talk on your behalf. You're not going to talk on my behalf. We'll do it because we want to do it.
Yeah.
Because yeah, it's very important. Years ago, I wouldn't understood what mental health is, so not everyone understands it. So it is very good because it is it is questionable because not everyone does know what mental health is.
Mhm.
Yeah, especially when it comes to race, and it's a whole nother conversation, but that definitely plays a part in mental health too.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely the cultural stigmas are still present. Yeah. And there's so much, and you're right, that's a totally different that's a whole nother series, to be honest with you, because of the stigmas that are there and the reasons why they exist. So
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And like in the past, you've done some like lives like with different people. I think I was live with you last year. Can't remember when. I think it was late last year, wasn't it? We did a live and talk about mental health with IBD as well. So yeah, when did you begin doing those lives with different people?
Um, it was actually 2020, but it wasn't live with other people. It was my own, because at that point in time, I was uncomfortable reaching out to people. It was actually, I don't know if you guys follow Nikki Love. Shout out to Nikki. She was the first person I did a live with and became a good friend of mine. And she's a ostomate and just an incredible person. She talks about living with an ostomy bag and everything. And through her, I started getting connected with more people, and I started reaching out and asked them if they wanted to tell their story. And it amazed me just how many people were actually voiceless and were given a voice from it.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's good. Like it's good fun, isn't it? Like just going there having a rant about autism, about mental health, about ulcerative colitis, about IBD Crohn's, and yeah, I think it is needed because like we know about our conditions more than most people.
Mhm.
Because if we didn't get out and talk about it, and just some randomer said about our conditions, it wouldn't be right.
Right.
But yeah, yeah, I think it's a really good idea. Like, do you plan to do more like in the future?
Well, so because of my work schedule, I mostly do it on weekends only now. But definitely just finding that bandwidth of having the capacity to handle the life without being exhausted from work. It's been a challenge. So I'm trying to find a balance.
Yeah, yeah, it can be exhausting just talking. Got it.
You'd be surprised how much talking is actually hard.
Yeah, yeah. You figure out what to say to them. You have to think out what questions to ask if they want to, because sometimes they might want questions beforehand, or they might just want to do a general conversation. So it's difficult because in the past I've had people, but I don't mind either way. It's all good with me. Like I normally like we are now. We're just having a flowing conversation. Beforehand, we said about what the topic is, what we're going to be talking about, and that's all I normally do. But sometimes people want a few questions, which is fine. I'll make a list. Anything that pops up in my head, but won't always go on that list. If it kind of that's a starter, and then we go on from there. But yeah, talking is tough.
Honestly, I don't even have the time or patience to think of questions. I literally just tell them, tell your story,
Mm.
and I will ask you questions from your story. In whatever you're comfortable. But I do ask them what are they comfortable sharing, and that's it.
Yeah, yeah, because
After that, it's just natural. And then once I feel like they're kind of done, that's it.
yeah, yeah. Like I suppose you kind of know if they're talkative or they're not talkative to how long you're going to be doing it for.
Yeah.
Um, or if they are very talkative, and so sometimes you can't get a word in maybe. You think, wait, we're going to stop.
I haven't had that yet, so I have not.
I've had a few.
Oh, really?
Yep. I remember 2020-ish, there was an episode I did, and you wouldn't realise I'm there.
Oh my God, Mason. I can see that. It's just like, hey, still here.
It's not bad. That means I don't have to say much for once. But it was an interesting episode. I had to butt in a couple of times, just so people I'm there, saying like it was on about an hour actually. I think 45 minutes to an hour would have been, but the person's there enjoyed it, so that's not what mattered. But yeah.
Luckily for me, Instagram only allows you an hour, so I do have to actually get some words in.
Is there any limit to an hour? Is there?
That's it. After that, they cut you off.
That's a bit annoying.
Yeah, but I mean, it gives me a chance to navigate from like 20 to 30 minutes and then call it a day.
Yes.
What if
And
they're late?
wrap up at 45 minutes. Yeah.
Exactly. Top at 45 minutes, we're done. We're good.
That's it.
Thank you.
That's it.
What if you join and they're 30 minutes late, and then you only have 30 minutes together, don't you?
If they're late, I'm just telling we're rescheduling. I'm not waiting.
Yeah.
No offense to anybody that works with me. I'm just like, I'm particular on time. So if you can't make it at a certain time, then we'll reschedule for another day.
Yeah, like in the past, I've waited 30 minutes, and sometimes I
wouldn't have done that.
Depending if I'm fully stable. Like if it's an hour, I'm definitely I will leave.
You're nicer than me, Nathan. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, like it is annoying though if people don't turn up and stuff, and you arrange it and they say it's fine. I know, I guess in the past, and I literally we arrange it. I say you joining up, and I don't get nothing. So you do get some people that I suppose don't understand the concept of time. Yeah. But that's understandable. But yeah, it is annoying. But what can we do?
Yeah. But on that note, guys, I actually have to hop off. It's been great talking with you guys.
Yeah, it's been great talking to you as well. Just before we go, if you want to tell everyone where they can find you, and maybe a little bit of advice that you have, any more advice if you have for everyone listening.
So you can find me at IBD Men's Health. That is my Instagram tag. And remember, you are enough. That's it. Just remember, you are enough.
That's great, Daanish. And I agree. We are all enough. That's why we're here. Well, thanks, Angela, and thanks, Daanish, and to everyone listening. I hope you've enjoyed this episode as much as we all have, and we will see you in the next episode. Thanks, guys.